Good afternoon. I'm back. Just had a bit of a traumatic time with my cash card, but I'm sure you've read about that. Anyway, before we get on to putting the top and bottoms on that we did in the last video, we need to make the shelf. Now, to do that, you need to cut 2 pieces of chipboard at 9 5/8 of an inch long by 2 inches wide. Okay, and that will make the shelf in your cabinet, and it won't come all the way to the front because we need to leave room to put the magnetic catches to keep the door shut. Okay, so you want 2 pieces of chipboard cut at 9 5/8 by 2 inches, and then you want to glue those together. Okay, and once you've glued those together, you want some more construction strips cut at 9 5/8 of an inch, 2 of those, and then you want 4 cut at 2 by 2, okay, score them all down the middle. You also want a piece of chipboard that is 3 inches high, or however high you or low down you want the shelf. I'm going to use this cabinet for my stickles. Let me just... So if you see, the stickles bottles is just shorter than the 3-inch piece of chipboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure how high up in the cabinet I want the shelf, and I'm actually going to put probably 2 shelves in this cabinet. I don't know how many you want to put in yours, but they would all be the same as this. Okay, now I did do a video yesterday that sort of went wrong, so I have already got a shelf in there. And what I did is I took my piece of 3-inch high chipboard and I placed it right at the bottom in that corner. And then if you see, I just took my pencil and drew a line, and I just moved it along, drew a line, so that when you've got your construction strips on your shelf, you can line that flap up with those lines across there. And what have I done with my little strip? It's still in there. So if you look, the top of that 3-inch strip is exactly where that construction strip is. Let me just move it. See, there's my bit of chipboard, and it's so that gives you a guide then of where to put your chipboard. So again, when you do the edges as well, mark it with a pencil at the top all the way along. If you want to put another shelf in, you do exactly the same thing from the shelf. Sam's fixed my camera so I can move about now. Not my camera, he's fixed the legs onto the thing. I don't know what I've done, but it all come apart. So again, what you're going to do, place your... This is only if you want one shelf. If you want one shelf at the top like I had the original cabinet, then you just do that from... Well, turn it over. See? And then you do it from the top down and mark at the bottom, so that that construction strip at the top will sit flush with where you've marked your lines. Okay? So, but because I want another shelf in there, I'm going to mark with this pencil. So that's my first line. If I move that, you'll see it. And again, just... Oh, hard doing this back to front. All along into that corner, turn it into there, mark along the top there, and do the other side as well. That's the piece. So into the corner, mark it. Can you see that? Let me just... Can See those marks? Oh, it's a bit dark that end. So, put that up a bit. So when I've got my construction strips, I haven't got this one ready, on, it will sit flush at the back as usual. And then what you do, this line here, the flap sticking up, you put the shelf in and you line that bottom flap up with the lines so that your shelf sits where you want it to sit, so that in between there should be enough for my stickles, you see? But again, it depends how many shelves you want. You can put 2 in there, you can put 3 in there. If you want to put one at 4 inches high instead of 3 inches, all you've got to do is make sure your chipboard piece is 4 inches high. Okay? And if you want to, what you could do as well, because what's going to happen is this top shelf along here is going to have more height. But to make it look more even, what you could do is just turn it up the other way and do exactly the same thing and mark your chipboard all along those edges, so the shelf in the middle will be just slightly bigger than the top and the bottom one. But I'm not worried about that, I just want another 3-inch shelf. Okay, so I haven't glued anything together, I'm not ready really. But here goes. We're going to glue these 2 pieces together. Plenty of glue. Put that back down so you can see what I'm doing. Ooh. Okay. And these strips here, the 9 and 5/8 inch strips, if you use your scraps that you've had off when you've been cutting your chipboard down, and then you haven't got to go into another piece of 12 by 12 or whatever size you've got. So again, make sure that's all together and all straight. Mine's not straight because one bit's slightly smaller, but I'm not worried because the construction strip will hide that. So there you are, there's your shelf, 9 by 5. So, sorry, 9 by 5/8 of an inch. So get your construction strip. As you can see, I never made it to the shop yesterday to get some more black card because someone thought it would be a good idea to tamper with the local cash machine and nick them money basically. Bastards. Sorry about the swearing. So I'm using white. So it might be a bit glary, sorry about that. Okay. Oh, poo, I've done that wrong. Silly cow. Right. Ignore me. Don't do that. Sorry. We need to put it on like that so the flap's pointing up, so we only actually want to glue down that side. Sorry, ladies. You'll have to cut another one if you've already done it, because we will need to. Okay, so again you want to line it up with the back and make sure the flap is pointing up. and make sure you get a good stick. And remember, if it slightly overhangs at either side, you need to trim it down. Okay, so that's what you should have. Burnish that down. Get some moves, you know it's flat then. If it moves, get it back into place. Okay. And you need to do the same for the bottom. What I'm going to do is just turn that up the other way. Put it on and then I'll wipe the glue off the other side. Okay, so you've got one on the top, you're now doing the bottom piece. Just wipe that off a minute because I don't really want glue on there yet. So it's even muckier with white because you can see all the mess even more. Okay, so that's what you should end up with. Again, remember, you will need to trim the sides if they're a bit long. If you want to taper your edges, do that. It's only a tiny bit, so. Slight taper. Okay, so that's that, and we're going to do the same with the sides. Now I would taper the edges of these because you don't want any overlap. So same thing, we're going to put it on like that, and then we're going to put the other one underneath. Okay. So glue on the bottom only. Okay, so just make sure that when these two flaps are up that they're not bashing into each other. Okay, so it might be a good idea to taper those edges. Get that down, make sure you've got a good stick again. And do the same on the other side. Taper. Glue on the bottom. Put my hand a little back over. Okay, same thing, put it on. Make sure it's not hanging over. Make it all sits flush. That's it. Okay. So that will go to the back of the cabinet, and that'll go to one of the sides, and you just want to do exactly the same for the other side as well. like so. It's all gone quiet. Tom's turned his music off. Sam's got his headphones on, so I can't hear his radio. The dogs are snoring on the sofa. It's like being here on my own. So quiet. Okay, again, make sure it's all lined up. See you later, Tom. Don't be too late in. Stay away from cash machines. Use your card in the shop if you have to. Same again for the bottom piece. Glue on the back only. And there you are. There's your shelf. If you heard that burp, that was Sam, not me.
Liar.
Okay, so there you are. 2 flaps, one at the bottom of the chipboard, one at the top and at the back. Now the front, you can just put a finishing construction over that. I haven't got one ready, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to show you how to put this into the cabinet. Clear the mess. Okay, remember we marked our lines. Oh, sorry, wrong way up. Let's put the camera back up again. Get a bit closer. See my lines there? So my bottom flap. Oh, don't tell me it ain't going to fit now. It is. So once you put your glue on, oh, my lines should have made the lines darker so you can see them. See, I need to line this edge up with that line all along there. Once you've got your glue on, just put it in, make sure it fits. Mine's a bit tight, but it will go in, it'll be fine. Okay, and then glue everything down once it's lined up, so it will look like that. Okay, so glue it all at once because it's a nightmare trying to get to the flaps. And remember to glue your chipboard because that piece will stick to the back of the cabinet. So plenty of glue on there and on all your flaps. And your side bits. Again on your chipboard. And the other side. Oh, a bit awkward to hold. Plenty on there. Okay, now I'm not going to be able to do it up that way, but you know what I'm doing. This is the top, this is the bottom. I'm going to line this bottom back flap up with the line that I marked with my pencil, and you do the same. Okay, edges, both sides, all have to be lined up, otherwise you will have a wonky shelf. And the good thing with glue is you've got time to move it about before it sticks, but make sure, and you probably will get glue everywhere, I just did. Burn that in, make sure it's there. Oh. Make sure that fits. No, it doesn't. What have I done wrong? I've done something wrong, so I'm moving it. I'm lining the top up with the line. Sorry. Don't worry about the mess if you're moving it, because sorry, it should have been the top line lined up with the pencil mark, not the bottom. Unless you want a little mini shelf like that. So as you can see, I've made a right mess, but I've moved it down so that the top's lined up with the line, with the pencil mark, sorry. That's better. That's a bit wonky that side. Sorry ladies if you put that in the wrong place, but that's the joy of glue. So I hope none of you have used tape for that bit, sorry. That's better. Looks a bit of a mishmash now because of the white. There you have your second shelf. And if you look, there you have it. And hopefully my stickles should fit on every shelf. Yes, yes, and yes. Hooray! Okay. So that's how you do the shelves. What's the time? 24. I'm going to stop this now and start uploading it so that when I'm doing the next, or start saving it so that when I do the next bit, this will already be uploading for you. Okay, so put your shelves in if you want one shelf, if you want two shelves, whatever. Put them in. Any questions, give me a shout and I'll be back soon.